Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Friday. It is September 11th, which, you know, when I was a kid, that didn't mean anything. But all of a sudden, in 2001, that started meaning something, didn't it?
It did.
September 11th. Very sad day for many, many, many people. We're going to try to have a fun program, but we'll still also look back and remember it is Patriots Day. That's the official name for today. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah, it's Patriots Day today. Right now, we're going to be talking about some interesting things throughout the morning here. We're going to be visiting with DiceyMcCullough because September is National Child Awareness Month. So she's an author. She's got some really cool books. We'll be chatting with Dicey coming up later in the program. And right now, we're going to talk about this. You know it had to happen someday. Europe has now started the very first thing, outpatient addiction program for people with video game addictions. So if you're addicted to video games, in Europe, they have a outpatient addiction treatment program. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised, but I really have nothing to add to that.
All right. She's apparently taking a page out of the book. If you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. All right. I like this new Heidi. Coming up, we're going to be chatting about James Bond and Ian Fleming more accurately. That's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
I'm probably going to lose some man points for saying this out loud, but I've never been a big fan of James Bond.
You know, I haven't either. I watched him, I think, back when Sean Connery was on him. I used to watch a few of them, but I haven't watched them since.
And I've tried. I've went, you know, like, hey, they got this new movie out, and everybody's talking about how great it is. And I'm like, I'm going to go check it out. And I watch it, and I'm like, I just can't get into this. Now, I'm not a sports guy either, so I lost even more man points there. But James Bond creator, his name is Ian Fleming. You know, he wrote only 14 James Bond books. There were 14 novels for James Bond. There's been many more movies about James Bond. Has there been
more than 14? How many are there?
Man, there's tons of them. And it's interesting, though. Did you know he did write one other novel as well, and it was made into a Disney film? Do you know what that movie was?
No.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Are you kidding?
Not kidding.
I never would have guessed that.
Same guy that brought us James Bond brought us Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Have you seen that?
Years and years and years ago.
I remember vividly watching it every year for Christmas in grade school. We used to get to go to the big auditorium and they would play a movie for us.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was the movie we got to watch one year.
I wonder if when he started working on it, if that was supposed to be a James Bond movie. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Kind of sounds like it, now that you think about it. All right, coming up, we've got some fun stuff to chat about and a guest, because today, it's not today, this whole month is National Child Awareness Month. We've got author DiceyMcCullough coming up in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
You know, it's true, Heidi, because you heard it on the radio. China's Wang Ho is the reigning ping pong world champion with 2 Olympic silver medals under his belt. You might say he did it all. Well, except for one thing, a girlfriend. Chinese officials banned the 25-year-old from dating.
What? How can they do that?
Well, it's a communist country. That's what they can do whatever they want. It's all changed now as the national team officials permitted his relationship with former national teammate, 23-year-old Peng Lang, I think is how you say her name. Her coach, I'm not even going to try, said both of them are old enough and it's normal. He's 25, she's 23. Strict control of athletes' personal lives is common in China. Wow. It's a rigid state-run sporting system there because that's what they do in communist countries. Under the watchful eye of team officials, star athletes often are banned from dating or marrying until a certain age, restricted in endorsement contracts, and sometimes they have a large percentage of their winnings taken away.
Wow.
Because that's what they can do in a communist country. So that's what it is. So that for those of you who were interested in Wang Ho, the ping pong champion of the world, it sounds like he's able to date now.
That's fantastic.
But they've also picked out a girl for him to date. So I can't even imagine growing up like that, because that would just be so weird. I want to just say thank you to the men and women who put on uniforms and do what they do to continue to give us our freedoms. And on all days, today of all days, September the 11th, thank you to the men and women who wear a badge, who protect our freedoms on the streets of the United States. And thank you to the men and women who put on the helmet and the gear and run into a fire when everyone else is running out. They're heroes, folks. Absolutely, positively heroes. Both the men and women that are firefighters, the men and women that are police officers, the men and women that are soldiers and serving in the Navy and the military in any manner. And today's a great day to remember that.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll get back to our silliness here in a bit, I'm sure. But again, true story about China's Wang Hao. He's now able to date. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. There's really no way to talk yourself out of a drunk driving arrest. If you've been drinking and driving and they pull you over,
you're going to jail.
Yeah, that's the way it's going to work. And 49-year-old from Greenfield, Wisconsin certainly didn't help his case at all when he was pulled over. The man almost hit a squad car to start with. That's usually not a good way to start things.
No.
So that was bad. He was pulled over by the Waterford police, and when they said, "So, sir, what did you have to drink?" he reportedly said, "What didn't I have to drink?" Then he went on a very long curse-filled tirade regarding the Greenfield police, and shortly thereafter, when they were talking to him, he kept referring to the Franklin cops. They reminded him, "Sir, you're in Waterford."
Wow.
Then he started referring to the Oak Creek cops.
Wow.
And he said, "Man, sir, you are in Waterford." Chances are, if you don't even know where you are,
you shouldn't have been operating a motor vehicle.
You
don't even know where you're at.
Yeah. Well, by the way, his blood alcohol level registered at 0.18.
Oh my gosh.
That's illegal everywhere. That's not good. Definitely had his brain on drugs. Your moment of duh is on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Now, your moment of duh. Toyota wants to know how comfy you are, Heidi.
Okay.
Have we ever owned a Toyota? I don't think we have.
We have not.
Maybe we should. Listen to this. They want to know how comfy you are inside your car and outside your car. Yeah. Toyota Customer Service Survey is the source of the moment of duh today. The Toyota survey asked owners to indicate their impression of their Toyota vehicle in performance, general handling, interior comfort, interior styling, and exterior comfort. What?
Exterior comfort?
What does that mean? Last time when I was riding on the hood, it was pretty cozy. I don't know what that is. What does exterior comfort mean?
I have no idea.
How comfortable are you standing near your vehicle?
Huh.
So, I don't know if maybe that was something that just got lost in translation. I have no idea. But there you go. That's your moment of duh. We have your scoop of the day on the way. And also, please stick around. We've got a great guest today. We're going to be visiting with Dicey McCullough. September is National Child Awareness Month, and she's got several really fun books out. We're going to be chatting with her on this Friday, September the 11th.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. William Shakespeare. He may have been stoned when writing some of his famous plays, according to research, Heidi. Shows that,
and this surprises anyone?
Well, research shows that 4 old pipes that were found in the garden of his English home contained residues of marijuana. Cannabis, it says in the story, but that's what it is. So they think that he might have been on something while he was writing some of those. To be or not to be? What was the question? All right, a Texas man has been charged with misdemeanor theft after police say he drank 2 bottles of wine in a grocery store bathroom before stuffing sushi in his pants and then trying to leave without paying. Sounds like a regular Friday night for Heidi. Where are you going? Grocery shopping. Gonna go get some sushi. All right, a homeless Connecticut man faces charges after he allegedly gave a 4-year-old boy a wet willy. Now, for those of you that don't know what a wet willy is, It's when you lick your finger and stick it in someone's ear.
Yes.
Is that the state? Do you
Yes.
think that's what you
that
knew
is
it
what
really
it
is?
is.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I knew it was. I was hoping that's what it was. So a homeless man in Connecticut is getting charged for doing that to a
Well,
boy.
good.
That is weird, but I just
that's
don't.
very weird. And I wouldn't want some homeless man doing that to my kid.
Would you, if he lived in a home, would it change things?
Well, no, I wouldn't want anybody
Okay,
doing
I'm
any
just wondering if-
stranger coming
Yeah.
up to my child and doing that. I would
That
press
would be
charges.
kind of weird.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Research shows that if you're an innie and not an outie, your belly button is home to at least 60 to 100 or more species of bacteria, fungi, and yeast.
Ew.
Yeah. That's interesting. Researchers at NC State say they found 60 or 70 species of bacteria in the average belly button. They found more than 1,400 species overall. That's kind of gross.
That is pretty gross.
I'm going to go home and clean out my belly button. We've got a shop vac. That'll work really nicely. All right. Researchers at Yale University say chocolate may be good for pregnant women.
Of course it is. Chocolate
That's
is good
awesome.
for every woman.
There you go. Spacesuit Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin wore when the two were on the moon in 1969. They were designed by Playtex. Do you know what else was designed by Playtex?
Tampons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they went from making the spacesuit that stepped on the moon to tampons. That is quite the stretch. That's one giant leap for womankind, I would say. Isn't that crazy?
If you're going to trust that part of your body to anybody, it
There you
might
go.
as well be the people
I just
that
think
work
it's
with
interesting.
NASA.
It's interesting that they would go from this to that. That's interesting. A mall in Sydney, Australia is making news for banning loud kids. If your kids make noise, you got to go. There's a posted notice that says, "Stop. Parents, please be considerate of other customers using the food court. Screaming children will not be tolerated in the center." The mall's manager said, "Parents have to be more responsible." We've had
agree.
so many complaints. And here's part of the problem is I think there are a lot of younger parents today that don't know how to parent. So that means moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, you need to teach your young parents how to parent.
Yeah.
It's not somebody else's responsibility.
There are
It's yours.
so many
Make sure you do
times
that.
I see that. These parents not even paying any attention to
There
their
was
kids.
a picture I saw floating around on Facebook where there was a young mother, and she was yapping on her phone, and her kid had fallen out of her stroller, and she was still talking on the phone using one hand to try to pick her kid up. I was like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me?
Exactly.
All right. According to Weekly World News, which we know is a distinguished news organization that's never wrong about anything, they say men are going to be extinct. Scientists have now put them on the endangered species list. Again, Weekly World News. This is
I don't know
one you
how
pick up in
this
the
could even be
checkout stands.
possible because you need men to make women.
Well,
so.
Professor Jenna Goodman even claims that the male of the species is heading for extinction by the end of this century. Doesn't
No
give us
way.
long. Says the most influential scientists believe that women will win the battle of the sexes and men will be permanently vanquished, basically. We'll just go away. We'll be gone. It says here... I don't know if I'm reading any of this right. I'm trying to skim
That can't
through.
possibly be
I'm running out of
accurate.
time. It says the Y chromosome means that men will no longer be able to survive in the genetic pool. So they're, again, this is from Weekly World News. Same people that had the story about Bat Boy. I just don't know if it's all that trustworthy.
There's no way.
All right, let's move on to our strange law. It is a misdemeanor to show movies that depict acts of felonious crime in Montana.
What is felonious?
A felony, which means almost every movie that's ever been put out.
Right.
So I wonder what they watch on Montana. Like, all right, everybody, let's watch another episode of what's a good movie I could use for an example.
I don't think I've ever seen a movie without felonious crime of some sort, so I can't help you.
Not a lot of help. That's your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. I've got a special guest on the telephone line right now. I have an author with me. I have DiceyMcCullough. Dicey, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How about you?
Fantastic. We're going to talk with you right now because many people probably don't even know this, but this month, September, is National Child Awareness Month. And I wanted to visit with you because you've got several really cool books out. Now, how many books do you have out, Dicey?
Right now I have 6 in what I call my Tired Book series. It's about a little boy and his dog, and it has moral lessons basically revolving around the dog. For example, in the 3rd book, Tired of Being Different, the little puppy feels different, but then realizes by the end of the story that being different is okay.
Yeah, it is. That's what makes us all special is the fact that everybody's a little different.
Right. And I actually wrote that book because as a child I felt different. I was an only child, and my parents worked evenings, and I was home alone a lot and was actually the first latchkey kid in my neighborhood. So when I go into schools and do presentations, I try to get across the message that the things that make you feel different maybe as a child someday actually may become your strength.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's really cool. Now, you call it the Tired book series, and I'm looking at the titles here. Tired of My Bath, Tired of School, Tired of Being Different, Tired of Being a Bully, Tired of Being Little, and Tired of Being Obedient. Which was the first in the series, Dicey?
The very first one was Tired of My Bath, and whenever I first started this series, you wanted to do something that was kind of generic that everybody could relate to, and of course, everyone can relate to not wanting to take a bath when they were a child. And I wanted to also include a little humor, and so there's some different stanzas in the book and also some illustrations that when the children see them, usually they laugh, and so that kind of breaks the ice a little bit. I also wrote that one into a song, and I have that on a CD that I use in my presentations as well. And the children are always fascinated by that a book can actually be a song. And two children who were 7 years old actually did the song for me in a recording studio, so it's pretty cool.
That's really, really neat. Again, we're visiting with Dicey McCullough, author of several different books. You've got a seventh in the series, Tired of Music. Is that what it's called?
Well, that one I'm working on and hope to have it out maybe by next spring or early fall. I'm going to include a CD with that one that includes music for each of the previous books. So I had always had that vision of wanting to do music with the books and include a CD because I was a music teacher. I was an elementary music teacher, so that's my background. And for example, the second book, Tired of School, there's going to be a song included about math. And then for the book about being different, there's going to be a song that talks about how some things are the same and some things are different. So hopefully, like I said, that will be out maybe late spring or early fall.
Very cool. Now, you were a school teacher for 30 years. What grades did you teach?
I taught music kindergarten through fifth, and my early years I taught kindergarten. Loved being with those children, and that's really where I got the idea because I heard children talking about being tired of things. I just thought that would make a really cute little story.
And it's neat because you got so many more you can do. I don't think you'll ever run out of things that people get tired of. So you could just keep on writing books until you're done. So
right, and also I would like to share my sixth book, which came out this spring. Made the top 100 list on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm real proud of that. And that one also includes a real dog trainer. His name's Glenn Sherrill, and in the story, he trains the two little dogs who find that being obedient is a good thing. And then also some internationally known dog trainers let me put their quotes about training dogs in the book as well.
So what is the title of the latest book that we should look for?
Tired of Being Obedient. All of the books are on Amazon and also Barnes & Noble, and you can also look at my website and check out the books as well.
And that's DiceyMcCulloughBooks.com. Again, visiting with Dicey McCullough, author, teacher for more than 30 years, and I'm reading on here that you also write a weekly blog and you do a newspaper column in your local newspaper. What do you do with your spare time, Dicey?
Well, I have 3 grandchildren. I also play the piano for church and still do and like I said, do presentations for schools. I really enjoy that. Enjoy getting to talk with the children and just getting feedback from them. A lot of the things that I included in my books were actually ideas from children, like one of the little bully dog in the 4th book. His name's Lucky, and one of the children at school is actually the one that suggested that is the name for the dog. So I really enjoy that, just interaction with the children.
So now the books that we have, you've got a whole series, the Tired of books. Now, are these books that would be geared towards children to read, or would they be more for adults to read to children, or both?
Both. Of course, preschoolers, before they are learning to read, parents can read them to their kids. And I find, too, that children especially love to hear the rhythm run. And that's the reason I wrote it as a poem, kind of like the Dr. Seuss books, I guess.
I was just going to say, those were my favorites. When our kids were young enough that they'd let me read to them, I always loved reading Dr. Seuss books to them.
Right. And, of course, the reading level is about K2, but I find that even upper grades, like 3rd and 4th grade, enjoy them because of the content of the topics, which are things that they can relate to.
Well, thank you again for taking some time to visit with us. Again, we've been chatting with Dicey McCullough. I'm going to have you give the website once again. What is your website, Dicey?
DiceyMcCulloughBooks.com. And when they go there, also, there's puzzles and games that go with the books, and those are free on the website. And then also you can find my blog. I also have a YouTube channel that I have some YouTube videos where teachers have actually done lessons with the first 4 books, so they can get ideas about the books for that too.
Well, very cool. Dicey, thank you again for chatting with us today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
And Dicey McCullough, author of several different books. Be looking for the most recent one, Tired of Being Obedient. And then there's a new one that'll be coming out next year, so be looking for that as well. Tired of Music will be coming out sometime in the next year. But when you get on, if you buy your books, wherever you buy them, just get the whole collection. That way you're not missing out on anything. Thank you so much for joining us on a Friday right here on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
Today is Patriots Day.
It is. That's not your line. You're supposed to say, what is it?
September 11th.
You're not helping. Yes, today is Friday, the 11th day of September. It is Patriot Day. It's a day to remember our fallen heroes from September 11th, 2001. Can you believe that it's been 14 years?
I really can't. It seems like yesterday.
It does indeed. Today is also Banana Day. It's Libraries Remember Day, National Day of Service and Remembrance, Stand Up to Cancer Day, and Remember Freedom Day. So today is a day to remember many things. And I remember September 11th, 2001. I remember that morning like it was just the other day. And it was... To this day, it felt like that whole morning was in slow motion.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful. And for weeks, I was terrified.
It was crazy. And we pulled through. And a big thank you to our men and women in uniform that day. Not just that day. That day, we had men and women in uniform, both police officers and firemen, running into the towers to save people, many of whom lost their lives. And then... not only people from the New York area, but we had people from around the country, firefighters and police officers who were there for weeks and weeks afterwards helping in the cleanup and the rescue. So thank you to our men and women wearing the uniform on this Patriot Day, September the 11th.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Cosmopolitan has put out this, and I think it's interesting. I got this a couple days ago, but I thought this would probably be a good day to share this. It's called How to Get Out of a Burning Building Alive.
Okay.
And, with today being September the 11th, first of all, hopefully we'll never ever have to use any of this info. But this is good info to know. Nobody ever wants to be trapped in a burning building, but if it ever happens, you should know these things from the National Fire Protection Association. It says make sure you have a smoke alarm in every bedroom, as well as on each floor and in the basement of your home. These are things that you should do. And it says test your batteries once a month, change the batteries once a year. Fire departments recommend doing this at daylight savings time. So that's a good reminder of the time to do that. It says also establish a practice escape plan that includes 2 ways out of every room. So if you have a door and you have a window, have 2 ways to get out of every single room. If you're staying in a hotel, take note of the nearest stairwell and fire exits, just so you know. Because if something does happen, wouldn't it be terrible to wake up at 3 in the morning and be groggy and then try to figure that out? So to pay attention when you're checking in. It says here, install emergency release devices to any security bars on your windows or doors so they could be opened within seconds from the inside if you needed to get out. We don't have any of that here. We don't have security bars, do we?
No.
Thank goodness. And then it says... if a fire has started, it says get low and go. Remember to get low and go and get down below the smoke and work your way to the exit. Smoke rises, easier to breathe closer to the floor. Close all doors between you and the fire as you leave. That'll slow the spread of the flames. So if the fire is in one room, as you're leaving that room, kick that door shut or pull that door shut as long as everybody else is out of that room. But pull the door shut.
Yeah, preferably.
Otherwise, that'd be kind of a jerk move to do that. I got to go. See you guys. But make sure you pull that door shut behind you. Also, if your body or clothes are on fire, immediately drop to the ground and cover your face with your hands and roll. When I was a kid, Dick Van Dyke did a thing.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll, Dick, roll. Remember that?
I remember that.
Call 911 from outside. Don't do that in the house. Get out and call. And then once you're safely outside, avoid the temptation to go back in for any reason. So there you go. That is from the National Fire Protection Association. Some advice on how to get out of a burning building or burning home. Thanks for listening on this Patriot Day. It is September 11th. Thanks for joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Headline: Man uses Barbie rod and reel to haul in record catch.
That's fantastic.
This is the most manly and least manly story I've ever read all at the same time.
This is awesome.
David Hayes, his granddaughter, asked him to hold her Barbie rod and reel while she went to use the little bathroom. It turns out to be a pretty good thing for little Alyssa. Seconds after handing her granddad the Barbie rod, he landed the state record channel catfish, weighing 21 pounds.
Holy cow.
1 ounce. That's not a whole lot less than Alyssa weighs, the girl that was originally holding the pole. According to the Winston-Salem Journal, the August 5th catch in eastern Wilkes County has been certified as a record by the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. The fish was 32 inches long.
Oh, my gosh.
That is 2 inches longer than the rod that they caught it on.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's a 30-inch rod, a Barbie rod and reel.
He must have some mad fishing skills to be able to pull that off. You wouldn't think you'd be able to reel that in.
Yeah, I don't know. I know those little Barbie rods and reels, or when I was a kid, they were Mickey. Remember that? Mickey rods and reels?
Yeah, I think I even had a Mickey.
When I was a kid, we had those things, and I don't think they're really designed to haul in a fish that size.
No.
But good job to David Hayes for
Holy
doing
cow.
it. Coming up, we're going to chat about karaoke and some fun stuff. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
If you want to be able to torture anybody, anywhere, at any time, maybe what you need is a portable karaoke machine. Apparently, the Japanese folks love karaoke. They have a toy company there that announced they're soon going to be selling a personal portable karaoke machine so you can belt out your favorite tunes anywhere, anytime. It's the Haikara karaoke machine, a small 3-inch cube which weighs less than a pound and works just like a real machine. Once the singer selects a song, which can be downloaded off the internet from special music cartridges, the lyrics come up on a 2.4-inch display. The machine also has headphones and speakers attached to it. It's going to run about $100, and it's aimed at youngsters who cannot go into karaoke clubs because they sell alcohol. If you didn't know, Japan is the birthplace of karaoke, and its name, karaoke, is from the same root word as karate, so it's really karaoke, and kara is empty. Karate is empty fist. Karaoke is empty orchestra. So that's where that comes from. So now you know.
Thank you so much.
You seem impressed.
I am. Couldn't you do the same thing with your cell phone?
I was just going to say the exact same thing. Because if you have, I don't know if you've ever heard of this thing, it's called YouTube. You can just put in the word karaoke behind it, any song you can possibly think of, and hit the button.
It'll pull up the version with the words.
And then you don't need to buy this thing for $100.
Right.
Public service announcement right there from John and Heidi Show.
We just bankrupted accidentally a company in Japan.
Sorry, Takara Tommy. Sorry about that. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
When parents hear their 3 or 4-year-old struggle with stuttering, maybe they can't help imagining all the ways it could cause anxiety, especially when they enter preschool. They'll be teased, they'll have trouble making friends, or be afraid to speak up. But a new Australian study published in the Journal of Pediatrics suggests that it's fairly common for preschool-aged children to stutter. And those that do tend to do just fine, both emotionally and socially. It's important for parents to remember that stuttering is a neurological disorder. Experts say, so barking out orders at a stuttering child like slow down or take a breath, that's not helping.
That's just making them more nervous.
Yeah, instead of telling them to slow down, for example, slow your own speech, and the child will follow. Also, don't bombard the child with questions. Keep your full attention on the child, and he or she will speak, including when they're speaking, rather, and make sure you give them eye contact. That'll build their confidence with very descriptive praise. You got to say good things, too. All this advice from experts, they point out, it's not just good for stuttering children. It's good for any children dealing with anything, so all children. So speak slowly, give them praise, give them
your
love.
full attention.
Yeah, and for those of you, we got hooked this year. We have not been, for the last 10 years that it's been on, we've not been watchers of America's Got Talent. This year we got hooked on it, didn't we?
I wouldn't say I'm hooked. I watch it because you put it on.
I thought you liked it. That's why I was watching it. So you're saying as we're going into this last week, we could just quit watching?
I think we can quit watching from here on out. Yeah.
There's no way. But one of the things, when my story was here, I thought instantly of the young man that's a comedian, and he has a stutter. And now, he didn't growing up, but he was in an accident playing softball and has a neurological disorder now where he stutters. And he's
adorable.
Utilized that. Drew Lynch is his name. I even know his name. How weird is that?
Yeah, he's
Why
adorable.
do I know his name? I don't know why I know his name, but I do. It's just stuck in my brain. But he is such a fun person, and we've all season as he's been on that show, we've been kind of cheering for him, and it is going to be such a tough this last week. There's so many talented people. It'll be really interesting. I don't know if it's the last week or if there's 2 weeks, whatever. It's the finals now, but this story reminded me of Drew, and he's a young man that had, something dealt his way that most people would be devastated, and he's turned those lemons into lemonade, and he's had, pretty good success with it. So coming up, we're going to end on a positive note. We got some fun stuff. Thank you again for joining us on this Friday, September the 11th.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always try to end on a positive note, Heidi, even on a day like today, because, it's September 11th. There's a lot of people that have very bad memories of this day. Very few people that
all Americans have bad memories of this day.
I don't think people have good memories of this day. It was a very sad time, and I know there are a lot of songs that came out at that time saying, Have You Forgotten was one, and there's people talking about remember. I don't want to forget. I'm not saying that we should forget. We should absolutely remember what happened, but I also don't want to dwell on that because that's not good either. You want to be able to move forward, and it's really very sad what happened September 11th,
that positive note you were talking about?
So here's the positive note. A recent study commissioned by the company JetBlue found that in one Washington, D.C. neighborhood, there are just one age-appropriate book for sale for every 830 children. How crazy is that? That's not very many. According to ABC News, JetBlue hopes to change that. As part of JetBlue's Soar with Reading initiative, 3 book vending machines were placed in 3 different locations around that neighborhood in July. The machines dispense kids' books for free. The program has donated 16,000 books in that community and is committed to give out 84,000 more.
Wow.
So these are in neighborhoods where there are kids that literally don't have anything to read. They don't even have books in these neighborhoods, and they're saying, you know what? That just doesn't seem right. Let's give them something to read. And what an awesome idea that is. And you can actually see the story.
But aren't there libraries?
There's not libraries everywhere, Heidi. And this is a neighborhood that they're underserved. They don't have that.
Huh.
So now they do. A big thank you to JetBlue. And if you'd like to see that story, if you go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show, make sure you put show, otherwise you go to somebody else's page. I feel so bad for those people. They're just living their lives, and all of a sudden we come along and bombard their page. But facebook.com/John and Heidi Show, and you can see the video on there and all the information. It's a cool story, and it's a real nice pick-me-up, and I thought we could use one of those today. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back again Monday. We hope you'll be back as well. Let's have some fun together right here on the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. We're going to tell you where you can go to find some amazing razors at an amazing price. But first, I want to tell you what I'm excited about. They have all these additional things on there. Look at my hair right now. Look how awful my hair looks.
Actually, I like it.
Does it look okay?
Yeah.
Maybe I did do something okay. They have some really cool hair gel, and they sent me a little sample of that. I really like it. I'm getting some of that stuff. I think when I'm wearing it, I think my head's bulletproof. Pretty sure.
Why not just... Okay, that's fine.
It is amazing
Whatever
gel.
you want to do.
It's good stuff. It's very, very good stuff. So that's one of the little bonuses you get when you sign up. Every month, they'll send me an email and say, hey, you're a good customer. You buy stuff from us. You want some free stuff? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. So I click the little box and I tell them a little stuff and they send me things. And I've gotten about maybe 5 or 6 or 7, however many months I've been a member. Every month they send me a bonus for free, just like this bonus break. It's a little bonus for free. And it's brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more about them and sign up for their service at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. A woman in Grafton, Wisconsin has been arrested for failure to pay her library fine.
You can get arrested for that?
Heidi DeBoer is 20. She ignored the library's calls and letters and noticed to appear in court.
Court?
Yeah. She was surprised, though, when
Must have been a giant fine.
Well, let's tell you what it was. It's in here. She was surprised when an officer knocked on the door with a warrant, cuffed her, and took her to the police station to be fingerprinted and photographed. Library director John Hansen said a couple of dozen people are cited every year for failure to return things and failure to pay fines. The incident cost her about $30 for the overdue paperback White Oleander and Angels and Demons. Her mother had to pay $172
oh my gosh.
to get her out of jail. So if she would have just paid the fine, it would have been $30, but instead it was over $200 because you tack another $172 on top of that. Now here's the thing you need to remember. If she took them back on time, her fees would have been $0. The whole system of libraries, thought up by Benjamin Franklin, by the way, such a cool concept, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is bring them back on time. And if you can't bring them back on time, go in and check them out again. Say, I'd like to check this out again. I'm not done with it. Most libraries let you do that. So I don't know why she let this get that far out of hand. Now, I think arresting her might have been a bit much.
Yeah, that seems a bit extreme. But you'd think all that could have been solved at small claims court,
You'd
couldn't
think
it?
so. In Goldsboro, North Carolina, a couple returned to their home after a long business trip to find out their house was trashed and items were missing. And there was a teenager sleeping in their bed.
Oh.
Aaron Scott Everett, 16, was charged with breaking and entering, larceny, and possession of stolen property. Police expect more arrests in the investigation as they continue. It says here Barbara and Ron Watson found chicken bones and broken bottles and matches and gun ammo and human feces all over their home.
Oh, my gosh.
They estimate the total cost in damages and stolen goods to be over $30,000. What was this kid doing? What kind of party would have that kind of feces and chicken bones all over the house? What was he doing?
I don't know. That's just terrible.
I have some chicken over here, and I'm going to go over.
I'm glad he was still in the home when they got there so they could arrest him.
Yeah,
little punk.
It's a whole different kind of Goldilocks story right there. Officers in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin suburb of Greenfield say a woman celebrated her 37th birthday by helping her 17-year-old son rob some gas stations. Mom was a getaway driver. Her son robbed the stations at gunpoint, and then the 13-month-old daughter and her 2 boys, aged 10 and 14, were in the back seat during the robberies. They're all in custody by the end of the day. So, hey, kids, family outing. We're going to go rob some gas stations.
Wow.
That's how I'm going to celebrate my 37th birthday. Somebody there's not making good decisions. Just not making good choices, Mom. And for those of you who live in a state in the United States, let's see if you're on this list here. September is one of the most popular months for newborns to be born in the United States of America. And I want to say congratulations to my little sister for having a baby. Was it yesterday? Or 2 days ago now?
2 days ago.
So it was, anyway.
It was late, but it was
late,
2 days ago.
So it was 2 days ago. But anyway, I'm an uncle again, so happy birthday a couple days ago to my little nephew, Sam.
Yes.
That's really cool. But we have a thing here, the best and worst states to have a baby, according to Wallet Hub. So let's talk about the worst states to have a baby. If you're in Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, New York, or Nevada, you're in the bottom 10. But the bottom 4 are South Carolina, West Virginia, the second to the worst state to have a baby, according to this list. This is not my opinion. Pennsylvania. And according to them, the worst state, number 51 on the list. Now, the reason there's 51 is we've got 50 states and the District of Columbia. So there's 51. Number 51 on the list is Mississippi.
I wonder why.
Does
it say why these are the
worst?
worst?
Well, it says here the average infant care costs in the District of Columbia are 4 times more than they are in Mississippi. So you'd think, I don't understand. I don't get it. infant death rate in Mississippi is twice as high as Iowa. So maybe that's what it is. The more child care centers in West Virginia than, all these different things are what they rated on. Pediatricians per capita, OBGYNs per capita, birth rates.
I see that Iowa is in the top 10, and I had my babies in Iowa.
2, and you were born there too.
I was.
So let's look at the top 10. The best states to have a baby. So if you're experiencing, those morning sicknesses and whatnot, pack up the truck and move.
And move to one of these states.
Don't really do that. Just make sure you have good care where you are. But number 10 is Alaska. Number 9 is Iowa. That's where you were born, and both of our kids were born. Wyoming is number 8. Number 7 is Maine. Number 6 is Kentucky. Number 5, Minnesota. 4 is Hawaii. Number 3 is Oregon. How do you say it? Do you say Oregon or Oregon?
Oregon.
Oregon? Because I've heard it both ways. Oregon. The number 2 best state to have a baby, according to this list, North Dakota. And if you weren't looking at this list, you little cheater, would you have ever guessed this to be the first state?
No, not at all.
Right. I don't even know why. It's not that I thought that this would be a bad place to be born. I just wouldn't have expected Vermont to be the number 1 state to have a kid.
Huh.
It's the safest place to have a baby. So if we morning sickness, Heidi, we are going to be heading to Vermont.
Okay.
Well, first of all, it would be a miracle if that would happen, 'cause we're pretty much done with all that.
We shut down that baby factory.
Yes. So there you go. That is your list of best and worst states to have a baby. That's going to do it for your bonus break. Brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.